The spirits have come, and they've demanded you go to patreon.com/recesscastproductions. For less than the cost of your pollution factory being an obvious metaphor for pollution, you can support our show. That's bonus episodes, early access, and extra content just for you. And no environmental consequences that you are aware of. Again, that's patreon.com/SSCastProductions. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to After Credits Cast, the only podcast that will improv everything because we don't write our intros sometimes. I'm your host, ATLA, and I am joined by my co-host, Ryan Metters.
Hi.
But hey, you know what? It's fine. This is the second to last episode of the season. Hiccups and bugs like this are gonna happen, but you know what? We're here. We're gonna have fun. Oh, we're gonna talk about Katara's mom again. That's fine. We'll get through this, guys.
I don't want to hear no Katara guff in this episode. She fucking kills it. This is the episode we've all been waiting for.
I like how I went out of my way to write down fun facts, background info, and then I get back here and I'm like, where's my synopsises? Where's my discussion questions? Motherfucker, I wrote this shit. But hey, you know what? It's cool. All it took me was 5 minutes to get myself back on track, and now we're ready to go, guys. We're ready to roll. We'll do some links first, though, because that's what we're all here for. It's for me to tell you about those links down below. That includes Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills, as well as YouTube, Pippa, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Actually, no, that's not existing anymore. You knew that already. iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podcast Addict. Google us, you'll find us. Just not on Google Play, because it's not a thing. You can also follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook, unless they'll stop being a thing. I don't know. I can't see the future. Ryan,
Don't dare take away my Tumblrs.
They might, Ryan. They might. Government might do that to you. Ryan, if they want to email us while they still can, where could they email us at?
They could email us at singinginthe.rain. I mean, excuse me. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
Hey, I've heard of that. That's in a movie.
Please don't DMCA us, please.
Well, speaking of rain, let's talk about today's first episode. We start with Side A, The Southern Raiders. Released July 17th, 2008. Written by Elizabeth Welsh-Yaz, and directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, and animated by Moe Animation. The cast list includes a few new voices, including Bonnie McNeil as Mama Ra. Fucking can't do this last name, Ryan. Gray Delisle?
Delisle.
Okay, I got it. As Kaya. Interestingly, Kaya is the name of a character in Legend of Korra. We'll get there eventually, maybe. No promises. And Tim Dang as Dang. That's Yan Ra.
Stop it, sir. Stop that.
No awards. This episode did deserve one, though, for some pretty good character work here. But, Ryan, you have a couple of fun facts for me, don't you?
I got two for you in this one. In this episode, waterbending is seen performed as influenced by two primary opportune factors. That is the presence of the full moon and rain. In addition, waterbending is also seen under the influence of strong emotion, yet another strong factor that determines the potency of the art's use. I would say that last one is integral for pretty much all bending, rather than just waterbending.
Maybe not. So, I would disagree with air and earth, because earth is about just being stubborn like a rock, and it's kind of emotionless almost, but a more specific example would be in airbending. When we get to season 3 of Korra, the guy, the third season's villain, he literally learns to fly by disassociating his emotions to anything. He detaches himself from everything. So, I would say that some bending benefits from a lack of emotion almost.
Okay, then let me rephrase. I would say that strong emotions have a big effect on bending, whether it be beneficial or detrimental.
Fair, very fair.
There you go. I got there eventually. Finally, the final fun fact, the turbulent weather and moody lightning in this episode represents Katara's emotional state, which makes the baddest waterbending move on the planet even more incredible.
Yeah, there's some good shit here.
Because it almost feels like in that moment in time, she just grabs hold of her emotion and just... I'll just wait.
Yep.
So I can gush all over that scene.
Well, let's get to the synopsis here. I totally spent a lot of time on it, guys. Don't you worry. It is great A stuff. It's solid. It's great. It's great. Katara is especially moody today, and Zuko wants to know why. Of course, it's her mom again. It always is. So Zuko offers her a chance to Batman it up and go hunt a killer. They spend an episode chasing down clues, blood-bending flunkies, and being sneaky. Eventually they find the man who killed Katara's mom, only to find he's a sniffling old piece of shit. Katara lets him live, if you call it living. She's not forgiven him, but she has decided to forgive Zuko. It's about time, too. The series is almost done.
It's her loyalty mission, man. She's got to go on it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
To be fair, this is the best loyalty mission.
Yeah, well, that dragon one is pretty good, though.
The dragon one is pretty good, but this one is better. I would argue this is better than the dragon episode.
It's a tough call. I'm not going to disagree, but it's a tough call. Overall, Ryan, what do you think of the episode?
Man. Just the scene in the rain is like etched into my memory. I'll be 80 years old and I'll still remember it when just like the rain stops in front of dude's face and he's just like, oh shit, I'm dead. Like, that's it. I'm out. I'm done.
So
make peace with God. That's it.
So there is... It's something I want to talk on for quite a bit now. This season's animation has kind of excelled in a huge way. Like, I'm not saying it was ever bad, but each season has slowly gotten better. And if you go
Absolutely.
if you go forward to Legend of Korra, it gets even better. Like, Legend of Korra's animation is so dang good. Like, even I ignore some of the weird plot holes just because of how good that animation is. But that aside, this episode highlights some of the best stuff they've done. Just with the weird, unique waterbending stuff that Katara pulls off that you don't really see anywhere else. And it's just impressive. The water dome, the ice rain, the blood bending that comes out of nowhere, the stealthy ice boat thing, raft, whatever you want to call it. There's just a lot of unique, good moves that really just shine in this one, and it's fun to watch. The animation takes a step up in the finale as well, which we'll get to very shortly. But overall, I think this season showcases some of the best work, and this episode is certainly a highlight among all those.
Yes, well said, sir. I mean, this is like Katara puts on a waterbending clinic, and the animation does not disappoint on this. It's so good, so well done.
Mm-hmm. I have a few questions here for you, Ryan, if you're ready to jump in.
Let's get it.
First one, why do you think Zuko cares so much to mend the bridge with Katara?
Well, I mean, at this point, Katara is the only one that's like openly antagonistic towards him because he's gained the trust of the other people in the group. But I also think it's important because she's the first one that he's betrayed in the group. Like they were all openly antagonistic at the beginning, but she's the first one that thought to give him a chance and the first one that got burned by that. Right?
I get it. He's a firebender.
Yep. So I think making amends to Katara especially is very important because she was the one that wanted to take a chance on him originally, and he betrayed that trust. So reestablishing that and kind of making amends I would say is very important to him.
Mm-hmm. But with that in mind, do you think it's fair for Katara to still hold his grudge against him, or not?
I mean,
no, I get it. You know, she was betrayed by him and everything, but considering everything that's happened,
she also didn't get to go on the loyalty mission until just now. Like, I mean, everybody else is like you see Zuko's relationship with each other member of the group improve by leaps and bounds after their like loyalty missions. I'm gonna keep calling them loyalty missions because that's they are to me.
They are.
So like not only seeing so not only him being with the group but also her seeing everybody else get all buddy buddy with him like she was prepared to, I could see that really irritating her. Plus we know from her previous spats with Toph that Katara absolutely can hold a grudge. So I think it's absolutely in character for her to still be this mad. Whether or not it's understandable is a different question. I mean, I also argue that it's understandable as well. But I mean, I think it's definitely within character for her to be so.
Yeah. Kind of going a little off topic here, but what the fuck is Sokka planning to do with Suki?
I think you just answered your own question.
Like it's a little on the nose for a kid's show. I'm very surprised they even put this in there.
Brother, teenagers, man. Granted, it could have absolutely just been a very romantic evening because he got his girlfriend back. He rescued her from prison, and goddamn it, he wants some love and affection. I think it was implied enough so that the older people knew what was going on, but the younger kid, like it was light enough that the younger kids were just like, ooh, they were gonna make out, and that's really as risque as the show alludes to, but us teenagers, we know what the hell was going on.
Yeah. That was just such a great scene. Like, I know this episode is serious, it has a lot of other stuff going on, but like that's just a fun, like, 2-minute joke there. It was good. Ah.
It was just enough comic relief.
I kind of overlooked it a little bit in the synopsis and the questions, but there's that opening sequence we have where Azula brings the airships to the air temple and kind of forces them to flee. It's an interesting engagement where Zuko actually does some pretty good work to fend her off so the group can escape.
Right, and he also protects Katara in that opening exchange. Yeah?
Absolutely. We see a little bit of Zula getting unhinged, and we actually kind of don't touch on that too much here because we don't get to see the depth of it until later. But what do you think of that whole encounter there? How do you in Zuko's growth from what we've seen before?
I mean, I think it's really cool that we get the hint of Azula's instability with her hair down rather than like super like prim and like with the high ponytail and the high bun, seeing her hair kind of out and just like about, and seeing like the creepy smile and like the kind of wilder movements. It's a subtle hint that yeah, she's starting to lose it a bit, but it also gives Zuko a chance to really start to show off his improved mastery of his shit. Cause like in the Boiling Rock episodes, we got to see him like do the fire breath, and we got to see him work well with the team. But in terms of being the firebending master, this is the first time in a little while that we really get to see him show off, but especially against Azula, kind of hinting at their future battle. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good moment, I think, for Zuko, and it works as a very good segue to the prime conflict of the episode. With that, even though everybody else trusts him, and even though he's actively fighting against the Fire Nation and against his sister to protect them, especially Katara, she still does not trust him. She still thinks there's an ulterior motive, and she's still pissed. So it leads into that very well.
Did you ever expect to see Katara bloodbend again?
The moment they were flying and the moon was red, I was just like, oh, somebody's getting body snatched right now. Somebody's about to get snatched. I think from a meta perspective, you like especially in the rewatch and watching it like as adults, the concept of bloodbending is almost like Chekhov's gun, where
You have to
go
use it
through
one more
this.
time.
Yeah, you go through this creepy ass episode, and Hama actually succeeds in passing down the technique, and you're just never gonna use it in the episode again. Then what the fuck was the point of Hama even showing up? So yeah, I think it makes narrative sense that bloodbending would have had to have come up at least one more time.
I just feel like it's. Here's the thing. I like it. I think it's a really cool addition. I just feel bad that it's wasted on such a low level flunky and not anyone important.
But here's the thing. If she ends up bloodbending Yon-Ra, then her vengeance for her mom is automatically tainted by Hama's teaching.
Oh, I'm not even saying use it on Yon-Ra, but hey, there's an Agni Kai coming up. You could totally help out if you really wanted to.
No, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I mean, the fact that she uses it at all is the huge, is the huge action. So we're just oh shit. So she's furious enough to result to the secret dark techniques. Oh shit, what's happening? But it also, I think, saving the bloodbending and not using it on Yon-Ra is a stronger narrative choice, because the power that is used to ultimately scare the shit out of him and threaten his life is entirely Katara's. It's not a dark teaching that she found along her journey. It's her mastery of waterbending turned to deadly purpose. So I feel like it lets her own that scene by not having it be bloodbending.
Right. No arguments here on that one. Could you have forgiven Yon-Ra, or could you have forgiven Zuko?
I definitely could have forgiven Zuko. I don't think I personally could have forgiven Yon-Ra, but I don't think Katara forgives Yon-Ra, but I think she resolves to do the healthier option and to let it go, to just let it move past her and to release it from her heart. So yeah, I would hope that I could make that same choice, because you're right. Going through with your vengeance is gonna feel amazing all the way up to doing it, and then the moment it's done, it's gonna feel
empty.
Strangely empty, and you're gonna feel even worse because the thing that you were counting on to make you feel better is done, and it did nothing, and there's nothing else that you have to try to quell this feeling.
Yeah, especially that one time when Sasuke had to go kill Sasuke's brother for murdering the family and everything. That vengeance didn't feel so good.
Especially when your brother monologues at you about why it was necessary for him to do so. It's oops. And it's you're gonna have to kill me to do this, and then he's I'm gonna take your eye. Thunk.
I spy with my little eye, your eye, I'm taking it. Here's my fingers, taking him. Is Yon-Ra a monster? Or is he, as the kids say, just following orders?
The kids? Do the kids just say that they're following orders?
The Magnetos say it, at least.
As the bootlickers say, they're just following orders. I think, I don't think we get a lot of the motivation behind Yon-Ra when he is a Fire Nation soldier. I think, many people who support horrible powers, the powers that be, and things like that, and horrible political ideations, that they kind of get enamored or fall in love with the power that's afforded to them, power that they've never had in their real life, yet they're made to feel powerful and important under this doctrine. And it's very interesting that once removed from that doctrine, once removed from all the power that they had, in that, you see them as kind of weak and sniveling and spineless, and not really with any agency of their own. It's just like everything they did was to feel important in the moment. And so, aside from that, they're just nothing. I think it's a very powerful statement to make Yon Ra like that. Because not only does it kind of look deeper into the thought process of people who follow beliefs like that, but it also shows the damage that people can do when just normal people follow beliefs like that. Because this guy, who is nothing by himself, but who was just flexing with the power that the Fire Nation gave him, destroyed Katara and Sokka's life in an instant. And so you see that the person responsible for the worst tragedy in your life is really a coward. And it's just, he was reveling in the system that allowed him to act that way. It's the system then that becomes the true enemy of people like that, because the atrocities are largely committed by people who are just following orders, or who are just buying into that for a sense of personal power that they could never get in their personal life.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing to add there. That hits it pretty deep.
I just went like super far. I was just talking and lost consciousness for a minute there. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Next question I've got here, and final one actually this episode. Do you agree with Aang in regards to letting go of grudges and anger, or can you not let go of those who have wronged you?
I think it's definitely hard to do, and I think the trick isn't in just completely letting it go or just like immediately forgiving the person. I think the pitfall in that, or in just like immediately trying to do it Aang's way, is that rather than actually processing how you feel, you try to bottle it up. You try to get past it as soon as possible, and you try to not feel it as soon as possible. But emotions are honest reactions, and they demand to be felt. I think if you're wronged, you absolutely have a right, nay, a responsibility to feel that emotion and to let yourself experience it. But the trick is to feel it, like let it pass through you, and then let it go. Don't try to get rid of it without feeling it, and don't try to hold on to it because the pain ends up feeling good when you wallow in it. Feel it, give it its moment, and then let it pass through you.
For me, I don't really get super hung up on people wrong me. Like, yeah, it sucks, but people suck, so I kind of just move on with it. It bugs me more when they wrong people I care about, because fuck, man, I don't want anyone hurting you or the wife or anyone else. Like, you know, you people are what helps make my world go round. Something happens to you guys, I get pissed off about it. If anything, I get more mad at myself when I do something stupid, and those are the things I can't let go of, which it annoys me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hey, it happens. It happens.
It's understandable. It's valid. It's a valid emotion. It's a valid reaction. This is going to quickly become therapist talk unless we continue on.
We have had several episodes like that, so it's nothing unusual. And then you want to add to that, Ryan, or should we move on to the next episode?
I mean, I think just to close on that, the concept of forgiveness is more about you moving on than the person that you're looking to forgive.
Yeah, it's not about validating what they did. It's about just letting you kind of accept that what reality has become.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily like, I mean, I still kind of wrestle with the concept of forgiveness because there are some people that I still have not forgiven. I think I've been able to move past it. But in terms of, and like if I were to ever see those people, I could absolutely be civil, but in terms of truly like forgiving that person and holding no ill will towards them, that's something even I'm still working on. I think it's a process, but I think ultimately you want to work towards that goal so that you don't carry that burden for yourself, because you can be absolutely furious at somebody and they don't give you a moment's worth of thought. It's only you holding that grudge, and that's completely unfair to you. So the quicker that you can process that and let it go, maybe forgive them, maybe not, but just like process that emotion in a healthy way, the quicker you will be free of that burden.
Mm-hmm.
That because they should not have that power over you.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that too, by letting them by letting that grudge hold on, you let them essentially control your life because you don't move on. You let them just kind of exist in your world, and if they've moved on or if they don't exist or what have you, you're just kind of letting them exist in your world, and they shouldn't. Let them go, man, and live your life without those grudges. Move on and try to be happy.
You'll be so much happier once you let them go. Like, I've let go of a couple of people in my life. My life has gotten immediately better once done.
Moving on to Side B, we will cover the Ember Island Players.
A little lighter affair from now on.
Yep. Originally airing in July 18th, 2008. Written by Tim Hedrick, Joshua Hamilton, and John O'Brien, and directed by Giancarlo Volpe, and animated by JM Animations. This literally aired a day after the last one.
Mm-hmm.
The cast includes, this is going to be a fun one, Ginny Kwan, who plays Suki, plays actress Yue, Rachel Dratch as actress Aang, Gray Delisle as actress Katara, Tara Strong as actress Azula, Scott Menville as actor Sokka, Derek Bosco as actor Zuko, D. Bradley Baker as actor Boomy and actor Jet, and John DiMaggio as Bender. I mean, actor Toph and actor Iroh.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
This is a fun cast list. Fun cast list.
John DiMaggio as Bender. I mean, as actor Toph and actor Iroh.
Which, ironically, Metal Bender.
Yep. God.
With that, Ryan, I think you have some fun facts for me.
We've got 5 fun facts because this is a fun-filled episode. First off, the black-clad stagehands can be equated to the stagehands from traditional Japanese kabuki theater. In the real world, the adoption of these stagehand costumes signifies the invisibility of ninjas in kabuki plays, and is responsible for the pop cultural depiction of ninjas as wearing all-black outfits. I did not know that last bit. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Pretty neat stuff there.
Right. Next up, the portrayal of Toph is a reference to the Earthbender prototype that Mike and Brian created before Aaron Eaz decided that Toph's character should be a girl.
Fun fact, in the intro to the show, that silhouette was also that character.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Next up, Sokka offering his actor advice may be a reference to the way Jack DeSena, Sokka's voice actor, added his own input to Sokka's lines, which changed the original serious Sokka to the fun-loving Sokka of today. God damn it. There's like reference on reference in between reference behind references in this episode. I love this.
This is a very meta and very fun episode.
Oh my god. Next up, after Aang is shot with lightning, the actresses who portray Azula, Mai, and Ty Lee assume a pose used by the 2000 movie Charlie's Angels. Azula's Angels is canon. I called it. Yes.
And, of course, this last one I think we're already a little familiar with.
Of course, in this episode's DVD commentary, the creators said writers might have put the episode's last scene as a jab to the upcoming movie, The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
God, that was garbage. God, that was such a garbage movie.
I want to get this episode a bronze for making you remember that movie, but at the same time, it does a lot of fun stuff, so I might let it slide. I have a synopsis for you, Ryan. Are you ready for this?
I am. Let's get it.
Alright, we get to spend 20 minutes reliving the best and worst moments of the Last Airbender series, played by lesser actors, worse writing, and so-so special effects. Wait, I think we've seen this movie before.
You son of a bitch.
Meanwhile, Aang has a moment with Katara as they discuss their relationship. It does not go well. Things end awkwardly as our final joke episode leads us to the 4-part finale.
Oh man, it's that ending that kind of throws the episode for like in a loop for me.
Oh yeah,
like it was all fun until that happened.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that first?
Can we? Because it just makes me mad that they kind of soured the episode with that.
So we should probably explain. So the whole episode is I guess I should have mentioned the synopsis, but the whole episode is the actors playing moments from the show with a comedical spin because, hey, guess what? This is a Fire Nation play, propaganda. So the final part of the play predicts the ending, like Simpsons tries to predict everything. And they predict that, Fire Lord's gonna win because it's the Fire Nation. You gotta give your boy the goods here. So they have him take over the world. They have him kill Aang. And his last line's like, "I have done it. I now control the world." Like, literally almost word for word that. Everyone gets up. Everyone cheers. And I'm just sitting here thinking, if any other portrayal of a president or any other famous political figure was portrayed like this, most people would be like not cheering. They would be like, "Oh no, this is bad." But at the same time, though,
man. Wait, are we the bad guys?
At the same time, though, Brian, we are in 2020. We have a person in the White House who kind of almost sounds like this. What do you think this says about the state of the world, and how does this reflect reality?
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
That moment when you realize you're living in the Fire Nation. It's like, oh God.
At least the Fire Nation's got cool toys.
I guess. I suppose.
I mean, here's the thing, though. We've already discussed this with previous episodes about propaganda, with the patriotic history and stuff, so this is just icing on the cake. But yeah, when your entertainment, when your media is bent in the way of the state of the union to play up how great the state and union are, despite the fact the state and union are totally not in sync with the rest of the world in some of the worst ways possible, it's a little what's the word I'm looking for, Ryan? I'm trying to think what describes that the best.
It's a red flag?
Yeah, ironically, it's a red flag. No. So the power propaganda is pretty dang gross, and I love how it's used here. I am still just baffled that everyone in that crowd cheers for this thing when, like I said, anyone with 2 brain cells could see, oh, that's a thing a bad guy says. Why are we cheering for him?
Yeah, but propaganda, when done well, is a very powerful tool. I mean, there's a reason that a cartoon can make an allusion to it and have it be somewhat authentic, because there were a lot of cheering faces in the crowd when Hitler would make a speech. So I mean, mass groups of people can be made to believe a lot of horrible shit if you appeal to their sense of tribalism,
or nationalism,
or
racism.
Yep, or many isms.
What's
a lot of things that make it feel like it's us versus them are very dangerous ideas.
That's a really sad thing to think about too. Like a lot of these dictators and or wannabe dictators, looking at certain people nowadays, a lot of them come from this very us first them mentality, like you said. And I'm just sitting here like, has no one ever picked up a history book or paid attention in class? This is exactly what this guy did, and this guy did, and this guy did. When we blamed the Jews, when we blamed the blacks, when we blamed this, when we blamed that. It's like, do you guys not pay attention? They're doing the exact same thing, and you're playing right into their hand. How are you not paying attention to this?
Yeah, it's because people are dumb. Well, I like it's because people are ignorant, and because people are resistant to change, and anything that represents a disruption to how their lives have gone, particularly if their lives are either perfectly fine or that their lives have already had enough fucked up shit and they don't even want to deal with other people's issues, and the minute that you try to make your problem my problem, like is the moment that I fight against that with everything in my being. It's not too hard to turn large groups of people against people like that. And when you try to appeal to a higher sense of self, or you try to get them to show some empathy, to step outside of their own shoes for a little bit, there are a lot of people that just don't want to make that effort. And that really sucks.
Yeah.
But that's the state of a lot of places in the world today.
Yeah. Ugh. That's a heavy topic to get on, but at the same time,
we
though,
were supposed to do the light shit.
At the same time, though, this is kind of important because I guess we'll take the kid gloves off. It's what we've been dealing with for 4 years under the Trump administration. I mean, call us what you want, sheeple or whatever, but at the same time, though, it's like y'all got suckered in. Not y'all, because some of you guys listening aren't like that, but some people out there got suckered into this whole nationalistic pride thing, this whole we're better than everyone else or what have you. It's like, we say this, but yet we have so many broken, unrelenting problems within our own borders that we are refusing to fix, or refusing to acknowledge, and also we're trying to make the world a better place, but we're doing so in some of the weirdest, dumbest, stupidest ways, and it's like, can we just maybe take a step back and not do stupid things for 10 minutes?
Yeah, and the thing is that the concept of having pride in your country or in your nation isn't inherently a horrible thing. I personally am proud of a lot of the ideals that the country was founded on. But you can be proud of your country and still recognize its deep flaws and shortcomings and still want it to be better. You can respect the institution while holding it to a higher standard. And I think there are a lot of people on both sides, honestly, but they are being outshouted, like in public spaces. There are a lot of people who can understand what the country was at least trying to go towards, and see all the ways that the country has failed in that regard. But the evils of nationalism come when you completely turn a blind eye to all of the bad things, and you look to either make excuses or just to completely ignore the things that the country has deeply wrong with it, to turn around and say, we're the greatest, yeah, we control the world, blah, 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 blah.
I have shortened that term a little bit to what I call toxic nationalism.
Toxic nationalism. Yep.
It's like being patriotic, but to a degree where you ignore all the bad stuff and it just openly just continue to make it happen. And it's like, nope. You have to acknowledge the bad and try to correct it. You can't just ignore it. It's like toxic masculinity. You gotta get a handle on the shit stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, I want to be proud of all the things America has accomplished, but there are also a lot of horrible, fucked up things that America has done that nobody wants to work on. And as long as we don't do that, we're not going to live up to what we are what we report ourselves to be. I want us to be that.
Luckily,
It feels like a lot of people are too invested in the way things are currently to help that change happen.
Oh, yeah. And luckily, this episode comes out like the tail end of April. Will be a good little chunk into the 2020 Biden years, unless, of course, 2021, sorry, years for Biden, but we'll see how the inauguration
Unless,
goes.
the world ends or, the race wars break out, unless the world just ends before this happens. Hopefully you guys listening now are perfectly fine and, things have calmed down. It'll give me some hope if you guys are listening to this in peace.
Actually, this brings up a thing. You just reminded me of a thing. So, Ryan, I've been seeing on the internet, and this is way off topic. I know we are. So I saw a thing on the internet the other day, and I have to wonder what this is. And maybe you have some insight, maybe you don't. I don't know. I'm not tuned into this. I'm seeing a meme going around lately about December 21st. Do you have any idea what the fuck that's all about?
I don't know too much about it, but I have seen a couple of things. From what there have been a couple of TikToks that I've seen where apparently there are some people who believe that on December 21st, I don't know, people are going to get powers? I have no idea what the fuck this means. I honestly don't. I honestly do not know what the hell this means.
Okay, because I've seen some people say it's like the end of the world or something, and I'm like, when did this prediction happen? I'm scouring over to look for the place. The only thing I've seen is like, oh, that's the winter solstice. I'm like, okay, anything else you can tell me? I've got nothing. So,
yeah, apparently, according to wild conspiracy theories, no, that that the world is going to end.
Okay.
On December 21st.
Well, it's 2020. It feels fair that would be how it ends. So, yeah, okay, fair enough.
The orbits of Jupiter and Saturn will take them so close together on December 21st, they'll form a double planet phenomenon in the sky. This will mark the first conjunction of two planets, forming what some are calling a Christmas star for several centuries.
Interesting. Well,
I think I got it. So I'm looking at a picture of what apparently this weird kind of eclipse is going to look like, and it almost looks like the circle from Heroes.
Oh, okay.
Ah!
Okay. See, I didn't see Heroes. I didn't get that reference. So.
Oh, you didn't see Heroes, man.
Man, I was that was like when I was in high school. I was tuned into other stuff and just
that's fine.
I missed that boat. There's a few boats I've missed. That's one of them. Back on topic, though, we've gotten really tangential here.
December 21st is when we're all going to become benders, didn't you know?
That's actually pretty cool. Ryan, so this episode's essentially a clip show. It's not like a full-on clip show, but it kind of acts as one. So with that in mind, Ryan, what do you think of clip shows, and how do you react to their handling of a quote-unquote clip show?
I think they definitely can be fun. I don't think as a narrative device they're super duper strong. They can be used to good effect, but I think they're better used either as a comedic thing or as a kind of a
recap.
A recap of seasons past or things that happened in the past. So I think they got a pretty strong grasp on it, and putting a satirical bend on the story that we've been watching for 3 years now. What was good for a fun laugh, and was also a great way to get triple meta with the writing. Apparently,
dude, the meta in this episode is on point. Holy shit. Now, I have a mixed bag of clip show thoughts. I've seen many of them done poorly, but I do like them when they try to do something unique. Simpsons had a few good ones, like the 138th episode Spectacular, where Troy McClure presents all these different clips from the show, but they also show quote-unquote deleted scenes or alternate endings that don't really exist. They're just kind of there for funsies, and that kind of stuff I enjoy. It was just straight up oh, hey, remember when we did this? And they just play clips that are related to that. It's okay, that's a little... But, so for this one, I like that they, like you said, took a satirical spin on it, and they didn't just reuse old animation. They actually tried to sell something a little different. So they could save a little bit on the writing budget by just focusing on making fun of the stuff they've done in the past, or having a little fun with what they've done. Like it's really well thought out.
Did Jet die? It's unclear.
Um,
They killed Jet. I still can't believe that shit.
Which caricature of our heroes did you enjoy the most, and why?
Oh my god. I'm trying with all my might not to say Toph.
I am too, but I feel like that might be my answer.
It just might be the answer, man.
My name's Tough, because it sounds like tough.
Just like, yeah, no, that's tough. Yeah, I'd like that's spot on, guys.
Well, I think what helps too is her reaction to it is just absolutely priceless.
It's just like, yes, you got it. You got it. Well done. Absolutely. I carry this team on my back, on my very wide back.
I see, but not like how you see. I got a supersonic scream. It's comedy gold right there. Would you see a play by the Ember Island players?
So
Are you even into live theater at all?
I do enjoy live theater.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I haven't gone to see any live media in the longest, since the plague. But I think even before that, I needed to make more time to go out and see performances. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy live action like theater and things like that. The thing is, for this particular show, like this particular show only works really well because of the knowledge of the 3 years that we've had. So we're laughing not at the play itself, but rather all of the jokes that the play is making on reality. I'm not sure if I would see an episode or a play from the Ember Island players just on their merits. You know what I mean?
Fair. I would be willing to give them a shot and see an original work by them.
I would give it a shot. You're right. I would at least give it a shot.
Because Zuko goes on a couple different times, both in the show and the comics, about the one play they do, what is it? Something about the dragons. I remember he mentioning it in an earlier episode. I don't remember what it is, though. Some kind of romantic thing with dragons in it. I don't remember what it is. When I go back to read it, I'll probably remember again. But yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. How do you think Aang and Katara could have better handled that conversation?
By not having it? This is the only part of the episode I actually didn't like.
Okay.
This is it.
Let's dive into it.
It feels shoehorned in. It doesn't feel really like, I don't know. It feels like another reminder that Aang is 13 years old.
Well, so
it's just like maybe not now, dude.
Well,
maybe.
So here's the thing, though. This conversation's been kind of dangling over their heads for a bit. Ever since the Day of Black Sun, it's been something that I know has been on his mind, and probably a little bit on her mind too, but they've been preoccupied with so much shit since then. So,
yeah.
It's understandable this conversation was going to have to happen at some point, so I don't feel like it's necessarily shoehorned in, but maybe just timed poorly.
I feel like it. The thing that kind of makes it feel shoehorned in is that we kind of go back to that, like, season 1 dynamic where Aang is feeling feelings about Katara and Katara is oblivious to Aang's feelings, and it just feels like a massive regression. So then when Aang clumsily brings it up and then, like, wants to, like, press the issue even when, like, Katara isn't really ready to have the conversation, the whole thing just kind of feels off balance and off beat. And Aang feels too, like, not, like, forceful is the wrong word, but too
aggressive.
Like, aggressive is really the wrong word, but it's the closest thing I think I have. Like a little too aggressive, a little too pushy in regards to, like, wanting to have the conversation when she doesn't want to have the conversation. Even though you're right, they do need to have this talk eventually. It just feels it feels awkward. Like, from its onset, it feels awkward, and that's why I didn't like it.
Well, and so, spoilery bits for the end here, but so this is the last real time that this issue is discussed.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the finale, they have a moment. We're not going to dive too deep into it, but the problem I have is we go from this to that. There's really not a linear progression to it. It's because after this, they don't talk about it ever again, and between now and then, there's, near-death experiences for everybody. It's like, okay, did we miss something along the way? How did this suddenly just be like a thing you guys are like, okay, let's do it now?
Right. They also don't show... they also don't, small spoilers, but Aang gets separated from the group for a good minute during the finale. And on their separate journeys, it's never brought up by either of them. We don't see Katara reach some new level of understanding about her relationship with Aang when Aang disappears. We don't see Aang think about how much he misses Katara or how he wants to keep her safe. We don't see any of that separately. So it goes from this awkward ass conversation to the end. And you're right, it does feel a little bit disjointed.
I feel like this conversation needed to happen, and I get it, we're so pressed for time in this part of the season now. But this conversation needed to happen sooner. And then another conversation probably to lead into that final moment would have been here. But we didn't have that prelude to this, or I guess I should say we didn't have this as a prelude to that middle conversation, and thus this awkward jump just happens. And so I don't necessarily feel like this is shoehorned in, but more it was pushed back too far, and there's no way to course correct from this to that.
So we just got to get through it real quick.
Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to figure out how you fix it, because we are in the end game. After this episode, there is no turning the boat around, and that's kind of a bummer in a lot of ways.
I mean, if our characters were a little more self-aware, it could have been something along the lines of Aang brings it up before the play, and Katara says, she's not really ready to talk about it, and he says, well, we're gonna have to talk about it soon because, things are happening.
One of us could
and
die
then the
soon.
play, right, and then the play happens, and they go through the play and they have fun, but
they're reminded of all the bullshit.
They're reminded of all the bullshit, but then you see those moments between Aang and Katara during the play, and it gets them to thinking a little bit during the play. Nothing happens during the play, but then after the play, they have a conversation. And what happens during that conversation, we have no idea, but I think that would be a better way to frame it.
Oh, maybe have it dissolve out, they're say they walk up to each other back at camp and hey, so remember what we said earlier? Maybe we should talk, and then just kind of fade to black or something.
Either that, or actually have them have a conversation where they don't reach a full and final answer, but at the very least they've gotten a little bit more on the same page. But the way they wrote it, it's they've completely forgotten about this whole thing, and then Aang seeing Katara flirt with all these other guys during the play, and oh, I think of Aang as a brother, immediately got him mad, and I'm just oh no.
Yeah.
So now he's gonna bring it up at the incorrect time because his feelings got triggered during this satirical play, and that's not a great place to come from when we need to have an important conversation like this. So yeah, it just felt bad.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that would have been, at this juncture, the only way you could really handle that without having to make a separate episode or to loop it into an existing episode that would feel even more awkward. That would be the only way to do it is, set it up in the beginning and then tease it at the end, but don't dive fully into it because time constraints, and we don't need to hear them get on the same page. We understand it once you get to the end of the series.
Right. I think ultimately, though, this way was chosen by the writers because they're teenagers. like what I just said and like how I would describe doing it requires a lot of maturity and self-awareness. So 13, 14-year-old Aang might not have been self-possessed enough to pull that move. 30-year-old Ryan can prescribe that move. 15-year-old Ryan would not have had the wherewithal to do that shit, or to even think about it.
So here's how you lead into it then. What other couple on the island is there and being coupley in front of everybody?
Suko, wow.
Yep, Suko.
Suko.
No, but
I stumbled into the ship name Suko.
But it was Suki and Sokka, obviously. I mean, he could watch. He could be like just hanging out with them. He could see them being affectionate to each other, and he could kind of look over to Katara longingly and thinking to himself, "What happened? Why did things not go further?" And then he just approaches her, saying, "Hey, this has been kind of on my mind for a bit." And then they, like you said, that awkward conversation. And then Sokka interrupts them before they can really reach a full conclusion, or just after they've kind of decided to split ways for a minute. And that's when they get to the play, play reminds them all the shit, they get back together at the end. It's like, hey, remember what we talked about earlier? Let's have a minute here, shall we?
Also, that would be the first time that Sokka actually that Sokka seriously talks to Aang about dating his sister. Like we got a little bit of like the goofy bit of that during like season 1, like when in the episode with the fortune teller. Yeah. We got a little bit of that with Sokka trying to show him how to essentially neg Katara into being with him because he's a dumbass 15-year-old and he thinks that's how this shit works. But like if we were to do the rewrite the way you're saying it would open the door for the first actual serious conversation about like, so you're interested in my sister, you guys should probably resolve that because I don't know what's going on with you two.
Honestly, yeah, I think that is the way to do it overall. Like, incorporate all those elements because it also gives them the arc from that episode to now, just before we end the other more important arc of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think we hit the nail on the head. We should get hired to write the next show.
We rewrote the episode. We got it. We
didn't really even change that much. We just changed a little bit at the beginning, a little bit at the end. The middle still stays the same. It's still a creamy, nice middle.
Yep.
So, Nickelodeon and anyone else who's hiring for writers, you have 2 young, strapping men here who can do the job. Just hire us, and we'll take care of your shows for you.
We'll put it together, guys.
Yep, we got it. We got it on lock. That's it for this week's episode, or today's episode. You can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook, as we mentioned at the top of the hour. You can also email us directly with your prescriptions on how you would fix this episode. Ryan, if you were to send those fixes, where would you email them to?
You could email them to cringyteenromance at sorry. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
Indeed. This is a part of the episode where we rank the episodes from platinum to bronze, all the colors in between. I guess I didn't really say the rankings last episode, but you've done it enough now, you should know what it is. Let's start with the Southern Raiders. Where do we rank this one?
Let's start with the obvious platinum episode. This is the best. This is Katara's pièce de résistance.
This is the magnum opus of Katara.
This is it. She's there. Like this is the pinnacle of her character. Well, no, I would say the pinnacle of her character comes. Well, another equally cool moment comes during the finale. But as far as her solo character arc, this is it. This is the summit. This is the biggest part.
This is the completion of her personal arc.
Yes.
And they do it with gusto. It's respectful, and yes, we've put up with a lot of her whining about her mom, but this kind of gives it the final context it needs to seal the envelope and put it in the mailbox. It's done.
Yeah. So obvious platinum for me.
Yep, I would agree. It's hard to argue that one. It sucks that Sokka's episode doesn't match up to it, but I think that's because Sokka's already had really good episodes. It's hard to really match them. Whereas this one, it's like Katara's had some shit episodes. This is her chance to really shine.
Yeah, like I mentioned in the pre-roll, I believe last week where we did the character
Mm-hmm.
rankings. I feel like Sokka has had a more stable incline in terms of growth, where Katara's had a bit of a more rocky start, but then just fucking jump shots through the puppet master into the Southern Raiders. Like those two really took her over the top.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, ranking the Ember Island players. This is a weird one to rank because it's so different.
Yeah, I feel like ultimately the Ember Island players is the calm before the storm.
Mm-hmm.
It is the last breath of kind of untroubled air.
It's the Ant-Man 2 before the end game.
Yes, exactly right. It's the Ant-Man 2 before the end game. It's just like, take a breath,
Have some fun.
like laugh at some jokes, and then plummet. And into the mouth of madness we go. I want to... I'm not shitting on this episode, but I want to give it a high bronze because it feels like a reprieve episode, and it's really just to relax you before we get into the four-part finale. So I feel like it doesn't, aside from setting up that weird ass conversation between Aang and Katara, which we've fixed in our rewrite. Aside from that, it just serves to catch your breath before we take the plunge.
I am going to be a little nicer and give it a low silver.
Okay.
And my reason is because I like their spin on the clip show format. I wish more shows took the chancy risk of doing something like this because it's more fun. It's more interesting. And allows the characters to explore the past and what they've done versus just regurgitating it for the audience. So
I could see that.
I like the format, and that alone gives me the silver. If they had done what we had suggested for the romantic conversation, it would be a hard gold for sure.
Yeah.
But that whole conversation really holds it back. And I really wish I could give it more because that fucking propaganda shit, oh my god, that's a fun conversation to have for this one. You know me, my political bullshit, that is a fun thing to dive into. But
what's amazing is that the propaganda isn't even really leaned into.
It's not.
In the episode. It's just like, and the Fire Nation wins. Yay!
Well, like in the other episode we talked
shit.
about, they did, like the other episode we talked about with propaganda, they didn't really lean into it either. Like, they bring it up, but they don't do anything else with it. And it's one of those things where it's like, there's something you could say here. We're waiting. Say something. Anything. But, no, I think overall it's really good. Just, there's a few things we obviously have already talked about that could put it above what it is now. I wish it was there, but I guess time constraints kept him from really nailing this one as good as they could have. Overall, fun week. Next week, we have not one, not two, but 4 different episodes to cover in one podcast. That is right, we are going to cover the entirety of the Last Airbender finale in one fucking long episode. I'm expected to be at least an hour, probably an hour and a half.
We got this. It's going to be a blast.
I'm hoping we can get some guests on for that one because it's been a hot minute since they've been on, but no promises there. My hope is we can get at least Nicole back, maybe Chaz. Bo is very hard to get a hold of for some reason lately, so we will see how that goes. But until then, we will see you after the credits.
Bye.